The Byzantine Emperor Constans II was assassinated with a bucket, according to Theophilus of Edessa. Edmund Ironside, King of England in 1016, was allegedly stabbed whilst on the toilet by an assassin hiding underneath. John II of Komnenos John II cut himself with a poisoned arrow during a boar hunt and subsequently died from an infection. John of Bohemia, after being blind for 10 years, died in the Battle of Crécy when, at his command, his companions tied their horses' reins to his own and charged. He was slaughtered in the ensuing fight. What do you think was gonna happen? Martin of Aragon died from a combination of indigestion and uncontrollable laughing. According to tradition, Martin was suffering from indigestion on account of eating an entire goose when his favourite jester, Bora, entered the king's bedroom. When Martin asked Bora where he had been, the jester replied with, "Out of the next vineyard, where I saw a young deer hanging by his tail from a tree, as if someone had so punished him for stealing figs." This joke caused the king to die from laughter. I don't get it. Tycho Brahe contracted a bladder or kidney ailment after attending a banquet in Prague. He died 11 days later. According to Kepler's first-hand account, Brahe had refused to leave the banquet to relieve himself because it would have been a breach of etiquette. After he had returned home, he was no longer able to urinate, except eventually in very small quantities and with excruciating pain.
Better out than in, I always say.
James Betts died from asphyxiation after being sealed in a cupboard by Elizabeth Spencer at Corpus Christi College, Cambridge, in an attempt to hide him from her father, John Spencer. I hope I pronounced this right. François Vatel, the majordomo of Prince Louis II de Bourbon-Condé, was responsible for a banquet of 2,000 people hosted in honor of King Louis XIV at the Château de Chantilly, where he died. According to a letter by Madame de Sévigné, Vatel was so distraught about the lateness of the seafood delivery and about other mishaps that he committed suicide with his sword, and his body was discovered when someone came to tell him of the arrival of the fish. Jean-Baptiste Lily, the French composer, died of a gangrenous abscess after accidentally piercing his foot with a staff while he was vigorously conducting a Te Deum. It was customary at the time to conduct by banging a staff on the floor. He refused to have his leg amputated so he could still dance. Here's a good one. After seeing a circus knife swallower, John Cummings began actually swallowing knives. On one occasion, he swallowed 4 knives and quickly passed 3 with no ill health. He later swallowed 14 knives, and after some days with abdominal pain, he passed all of them. He finally swallowed 20 knives and a case, but after a few days he had only passed the case. He died after 4 years in pain. On autopsy, a knife blade and spring were found in his intestines, and between 30 and 40 fragments of metal, wood and horn in his stomach. Governor Morris died from an infection after using a whalebone to clear a blockage in his urinary tract. Wow. Archduchess Mathilde of Austria, daughter of Archduke Albrecht, Duke of Teschen, set her dress on fire while trying to hide a cigarette from her father, who had forbidden her to smoke.
Help me, I've come aflame again!
Clement
Vallandigham.
Clement, a lawyer defending a man accused of murder, accidentally shot himself while demonstrating how the victim might have done so. His client was acquitted. 21 people were killed and 150 injured in the Great Molasses Flood when a large tank of molasses burst in Boston's North End. Thornton Jones, a lawyer in Bangor,
Gwynedd,
Wales, woke up to find that he had his throat slit. Motioning for a paper and pencil, he wrote, "I dreamt that I had done it, I awoke to find it true, and died 80 minutes later." He had done it himself while unconscious. An inquest at Bangor delivered a verdict of suicide while temporarily insane. Basil Brown, a 48-year-old health food advocate from Croydon, England, died from liver damage after he consumed 70 million units of vitamin A and around 38 liters of carrot juice over 10 days, turning his skin bright yellow. Kurt Goodall, an Austrian-American logician and mathematician, developed an obsessive fear of being poisoned and refused to eat food prepared by anyone but his wife. When she became ill and was hospitalized, he starved. Dick Wertheim, a tennis linesman, died after a ball struck him in the groin and he fell out of his chair.
I swear to God I had something for this.
A poodle named Cachi in Caballito, Buenos Aires, fell from 13 floors and fatally hit 75-year-old Marta Espina, killing both instantly. In the course of the events, 46-year-old Edith Sola, who came to see the incident, was fatally hit by a bus. An unidentified man who witnessed her death had a heart attack and also died on his way to the hospital.
What the f***?
2 workers in an aluminum factory in Romania broke employment regulations when they stripped themselves completely and played with an air hose. One of them pumped 6 bars of atmospheric pressure into his anus, causing internal hemorrhaging, and died within minutes. Gary Hoy, a lawyer in Toronto, fell from the 24th floor of the Toronto Dominion Centre while demonstrating that its windows were unbreakable. He threw himself against one which, true to his assertion, did not break, but instead popped out of its frame.
You are technically correct. The best kind of correct.
26-year-old Mark Gleason, from Headley Down, Hampshire, insisted on attempting to cure his incurable snoring with his girlfriend by taking sleeping pills and inserting tampons into his nostrils. He died from suffocation, with the sleeping pills adding to his breathing difficulties. 16-year-old Jonathan Capewell died from a heart attack brought on by the buildup of butane and propane in his blood after excessive use of deodorant spray. He was reported to have been obsessed with personal hygiene. Bernd Brandes, a German engineer from Berlin, was willingly slaughtered so that he could be butchered and eaten by cannibal Armin Meiwes. He had responded to an internet advertisement which Meiwes had placed for this purpose. In prison, Meiwes became a vegetarian.